Hello, Bama friends. This story is intriguing to say the least, and no one expected it. Let's get to the news. But first, subscribe to the channel to receive more Bama news. Amazing, isn't it? Let's take a look at this story, which may or may not be controversial. At the end of the video, you can give your opinion. Some team changes by players have a significant effect on both the institutions that lose these stars and those that receive them. An emblematic example was Jameson Williams' move from Ohio State to Alabama, where he quickly stood out as a key player on the team. A while back, Justin Fields, former Ohio State quarterback and currently in the NFL, expressed his feelings about Williams' departure from the Buckeyes and his impressive evolution with the Crimson Tide. Ohio State has a history of producing exceptional receivers, and has consistently sent talents to the NFL, such as Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, who have both shown phenomenal skills. For Jameson Williams, his time in Columbus was not as productive as he had hoped. Recruited for his speed and skill, Williams struggled to establish himself in the Buckeyes' offensive scheme, which already had established stars like Wilson and Olave. In his 2 seasons at Ohio State, he had just 15 receptions, totaling 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. This limited performance was a catalyst for Williams to seek new surroundings, culminating in his transfer to Alabama, where his trajectory took a notable upward turn. In an interview on the TS podcast, Justin Fields detailed his view on Williams' transition. He was being drafted at Ohio, but they weren't taking advantage of his talent properly, Fields said. "I'm glad he made the move and shined at Bama." Those words suggest a level of disappointment Williams likely felt while with the Buckeyes, where he felt his potential was being underutilized. The move to Alabama proved to be the right one. In his season with the Crimson Tide, Williams impressed with 1,572 yards and 15 touchdowns, cementing himself as one of the most promising receivers in the country and elevating his status to a first-round NFL draft pick by the Detroit Lions. The new phase at Alabama was essential for Williams to fully explore his talent under Nick Saban's tutelage at one of the most renowned programs in American college football. Despite a challenging first year in the NFL marked by injuries and a total of 354 yards, expectations for Williams in 2024 are high, with hopes that he will recapture the explosiveness and speed that made him stand out at Alabama. Jameson Williams' journey serves as an intriguing reflection on how the right environment and opportunities are crucial to an athlete's development. His story is an inspiration that even when initial plans don't work out, resilience and finding new directions can result in exceptional success. For Williams, the move to Alabama was a game-changer, opening the door for him to fully realize his potential. Listening to Justin Fields, who played with Williams in Columbus, gives us a glimpse into the internal dynamics that can shape a player's career. Williams' story reinforces the idea that oftentimes, significant changes are necessary to truly unlock what an athlete can offer. For Alabama, Williams' arrival was a strategic addition to an already potent offense. And for Williams himself, it was a testament to how difficult, yet risky, decisions can be the key to remarkable achievement. Interesting or intriguing? You can decide, but first, check out this news. As the Alabama Crimson Tide prepare for another football season, expectations for their tight ends are high. The coaching staff, led by tight ends coach Brian Ellis, has high hopes for C.J. Dippre and Robbie Oates, but it's the arrival of a third tight end that has Tuscaloosa buzzing. That's Josh Cuevas, a name that Tide fans will learn quickly, according to Ellis. Cuevas, a transfer from the University of Washington, already has a respectable resume. Not only was he part of a Pac-12 championship team, he also played in the College Football Playoff National Championship game in 2023, valuable experience for any Alabama player. But Cuevas' journey to Bryant-Denny Stadium was not conventional. It started at California Polytechnic State University, where he quickly became a standout. In 2021 and 2022, Cuevas put his name on the radar of scouts while playing for Cal Poly. In his sophomore year, He was named to the All-Big Sky third team, an accolade that few players from his conference achieve. With 57 receptions for 622 yards and 6 touchdowns in the 2022 season, he proved to be a constant threat on the field. In total, Cuevas accumulated 61 receptions for 678 yards and 6 touchdowns during his time at Cal Poly, numbers that certainly caught the attention of the Alabama coaching staff. The transition to Alabama brought significant changes for Cuevas, not only in terms of competition, but also physically. Cuevas wasted no time adapting to the Crimson Tide's high-performance environment. Ellis, when speaking about Cuevas, was full of praise. He described him as a great kid and a tireless worker, traits that are essential to the Alabama football program. But what excites the coach most is Cuevas' knowledge of the Tide offense, which Ellis says could even surpass his own. That familiarity with the scheme, combined with Cuevas' size, strength and athleticism, makes him a potentially lethal weapon in Alabama's passing game. Of course, Cuevas' arrival doesn't mean he'll have an easy path to the top of the depth chart. Dupree and Utes are also talented players with experience in the Tide system, but the internal competition only raises the bar for everyone involved. That healthy competition is exactly what the coaching staff wants to see, because ultimately it only benefits the team as a whole. As Crimson Tide fans prepare for their home opener against Western Kentucky, there's a lot of anticipation. All eyes will be on Cuevas, who will finally get the chance to show what he's capable of in one of college football's most iconic stadiums. Ellis believes Alabama fans will quickly learn the value of Cuevas, and if he lives up to expectations, he could very well become one of the most impactful tight ends to come through Tuscaloosa in recent years. Let's get moving. Keelan Russell, the talented 5-star quarterback from Duncanville High School in Texas, is already proving to be a standout performer for the Alabama Crimson Tide. In a move that reflects his dedication and ambition, Russell has been working with Jeff Christensen, the renowned private quarterback coach who also coaches NFL great Patrick Mahomes. This extra off-season effort not only highlights Russell's commitment to his development, but also raises even more expectations for his future in Tuscaloosa. Russell, who committed to Alabama in June, was previously a SMU commit, but the decision to switch to the Crimson Tide was based on a careful analysis of the opportunities the Alabama program offers. His father's influence on that decision-making process was clear, with Alabama's rich history of quarterback development including the likes of Mac Jones, Bryce Young and Tua Tagovailoa. These players have not only made their mark in Tuscaloosa, but have also found success at the professional level, making Alabama an attractive destination for any young quarterback with aspirations of greatness. Russell's goal is clear: he wants to be a Heisman-winning quarterback, and he believes Alabama is the place to make that dream a reality. The Crimson Tide has an unparalleled track record of developing quarterbacks who not only lead on the field, but also win individual awards and go on to have successful NFL careers. That tradition of excellence was a major factor in Russell choosing Alabama, a decision that could very well shape the future of the program. Another point of emphasis for Russell and his family was the current state of the quarterback room at Alabama. With current starter Jalen Milroe likely headed to the NFL soon, Russell sees a real opportunity to compete for a significant position once he arrives on campus. The lack of quarterbacks with deep snaps also means that Russell will be entering a wide-open competition where his talent and preparation could put him in a position to excel as soon as his freshman year. With the potential to become the number 2 quarterback his freshman season, Russell is positioning himself to be a key player in Alabama's future. His arrival in December, before the start of the upcoming season, will give him plenty of time to assimilate into the system and learn under the guidance of a coaching staff that has a proven track record of molding quarterbacks into stars. For Crimson Tide fans, the news that Russell is training with someone of Jeff Christensen's caliber only adds to the excitement surrounding the young quarterback. Christensen, known for his work with Patrick Mahomes, brings a unique perspective and valuable experience that can only benefit Russell as he transitions to college football. That kind of preparation is exactly what you'd expect from a player who wants to compete at the highest level and understands the pressure and expectations that come with wearing an Alabama jersey. All eyes will be on Russell's continued development and how he fits into the dynamic of the Alabama team. With his talent, work ethic, and now the support of an elite coach, Russell is on a trajectory that could lead him to great things in Tuscaloosa. The Alabama Crimson Tide, a program that always strives for excellence, appears to have found a player in Keelan Russell who can continue the tradition and perhaps add another Heisman Trophy to his collection. This is the story of a young quarterback who is doing everything it takes to succeed, and the expectation is that the dedication will pay off not only for him, but for the Alabama Crimson Tide as well. And speaking of Caleb Cunningham, amidst the speculation, Cunningham made it clear where his heart lies, with Alabama. Cunningham, one of the Crimson Tide's top commits for the class of 2025, has been the subject of much talk in recent weeks, especially with the news of his planned visit to Ole Miss University this weekend. That news was enough to make some question his decision to commit to Alabama, sparking a cycle of rumors and concerns among fans. However, in an era where social media is a powerful channel for direct communication with fans and followers, Cunningham quickly took to his X account, formerly Twitter, to dispel any doubts. With a simple but meaningful post, he reaffirmed his commitment to Alabama, using elephant emojis, a clear symbol of the Crimson Tide, accompanied by the direct message, "Nothing has changed." This announcement came as an immediate relief to Alabama fans eager to see the young talent on the field in a Tide jersey. Cunningham is not just another recruit. He is one of the cornerstones of Alabama's 2025 class, a player who promises to make an immediate impact on the program. His abilities on the field are widely recognized, and his decision to commit to Alabama was met with enthusiasm by the Tuscaloosa community. Therefore, any suggestion that he might reconsider his commitment would naturally raise concerns. It is important to remember that visits to other schools are common in the recruiting process, even for those who have already declared their commitment. Recruits like Cunningham have the right to explore all of their options and ensure that they are making the best decision for their future. However, Cunningham's firm response to the rumors demonstrates a maturity and focus that is sure to please the Alabama coaching staff. While rumors may continue to circulate, what really matters is what the player himself feels and says. And so far, Cunningham has been clear in his message. He is committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide and has no intention of changing course. That steadfastness bodes well for the future of the program, which continues to attract elite talent to maintain its tradition of college football excellence. Let's move on, friends. The Alabama Crimson Tide defense has always been a cornerstone of the program's success, especially when Nick Saban was on the team. However, after a peak in 2017, when the defensive unit shined with 40 sacks, 101 tackles for loss, 8 forced fumbles, 19 interceptions and 2 touchdowns, the defense went through a period of decline. That was until 2023, when Kevin Steele brought back the tenacity and toughness that characterizes the Tide defense. Now, with Kane Womack at the helm as defensive coordinator, there is renewed expectation that the Alabama defense can return to its dominant form. Womack, who took over after a successful stint as head coach at the University of South Alabama, has brought a new energy in a 4-2-5 scheme that has generated much excitement among both players and fans. His track record is promising, with his South Alabama defensive group finishing in the top 20 in total defense in 2023, allowing just 313.2 yards per game. With that credibility, Womack came to Tuscaloosa with a clear mission: to restore the ferocity and effectiveness of the Crimson Tide defense. One of Alabama's veteran defensive linemen, Smith, expressed his excitement for what's to come under Womack's leadership. In a recent interview, Smith made it clear that while the scheme is important, it's the defense's mindset that really makes the difference. He described how the desire to get that pill, meaning forced turnovers, has been a driving force during fall and spring practices. "Everybody wants the pill," Smith said, emphasizing that the defense has been focused on causing and recovering turnovers all season. That aggressive, ball-hungry mentality is exactly what Alabama fans expect to see on the field. The idea that the Crimson Tide defense will be centered around generating turnovers is exciting news for anyone who follows the program. Turnovers not only change the momentum of a game, but they are also a direct way to get the ball back to the offense, giving Jalen Milroe and company more opportunities to score. If the defense can live up to Smith's promise, interceptions, forced fumbles and fumble recoveries could become the hallmarks of this defensive unit throughout the season. Womack's presence as the defensive play caller is another factor that adds confidence to the equation. He mentioned that he is back in his element, suggesting that he is comfortable and ready to put his stamp on Alabama's defense. If he can replicate the success he had at South Alabama, the Tide defense could once again become one of the most feared in college football. For Crimson Tide fans, Smith's words are a comfort. They know that a dominant defense can be the difference maker in a tough season, especially in a conference as competitive as the SEC. If Womack and his defense deliver, there's no doubt Alabama will be in a position to compete for a national championship in 2024, potentially marking the great work of Kalen DeBoer in his debut season as head coach. Kalen DeBoer is about to face his first game week as the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and as expected, anticipation is high. In his recent press conference, DeBoer touched on a variety of topics, from the current status of the players to the strategies the team will adopt on game day. However, as is typical for him, DeBoer managed to engage the audience without revealing too much about the team's specific plans, in keeping with Alabama's tradition of playing its cards close to the chest. As far as the injury report goes, DeBoer offered some good news for Crimson Tide fans. He confirmed that Jam Miller and Jaden Roberts should be ready to practice during the week and, more importantly, will be available for the game. On the other hand, Jeremiah Alexander, a player many expected to see in action, will not be available, an absence that will undoubtedly affect the defense but one that Alabama is prepared to overcome. DeBoer also spoke about how he deals with pre-game jitters, a topic that resonated with many considering this will be his first game at the helm of one of college football's most prestigious programs. His pre-game routine, helmet communication and his opinions on players like Jalen Milroe and Caleb Odom were all mentioned, but with the skill of a veteran, DeBoer avoided getting into specifics that could give opponents an advantage. It's this ability to be both informative and strategic that is quickly making DeBoer an intriguing and respected figure in the college football landscape. On the defensive side, coordinator Kane Womack continues to be a fascinating figure. Known for his intense style and cerebral ability to formulate defensive schemes, Womack has brought a new energy to Alabama's defense. In his own press conference, he mentioned terms like juice, feverish field, and violent intent when describing what he looks for in players who will be on the field. These expressions, while colloquial, reflect the kind of aggressive, relentless mentality that Womack wants to instill in his defense. Womack also addressed the situation at outside linebackers, affectionately nicknamed the Wolf Players. He praised K. Robinson's work ethic and leadership, but was careful not to name him directly as a starter, suggesting that the competition for the position is still open and that different players will be used in specific situations. This indicates that Alabama's defense will be dynamic and adaptable, with Womack exploring all options to keep the defensive unit strong and unpredictable. On the offensive side, the battle for the right tackle, RT, position remains one of the last big unknowns for Alabama this season. Nick Sheridan, the offensive coordinator, was equally coy about who will fill this crucial position on the offensive line. Wilkin Formby and Elijah Pritchett are the top candidates, but Sheridan opted to keep that information under wraps, waiting until game day to reveal his cards. This strategy of keeping opponents in the dark is typical of a program that values meticulous preparation and precise execution. Another significant change DeBoer mentioned was the new setup for game day coaches. Nick Sheridan will be in the top box, a move that makes sense given his meticulous nature and his need to have a wide field view to adjust the offense as needed. Alongside him will be safeties coach Colin Hitchler, whose position in the box will allow him a clear view of the secondary and any necessary defensive adjustments. Womack, with his fiery personality and hands-on approach, will remain on the sideline, where he can communicate directly with his players and adjust the defense on the fly. With all of these changes and preparations, Alabama is preparing for the start of a new era under Kalen DeBoer. The team is expected to take the field with the same ferocity and excellence that has come to be expected from the Crimson Tide, but now with a fresh touch and new energy brought by DeBoer and his staff. The opener against Western Kentucky will be a first opportunity for fans and observers to see how all these pieces fit together and, perhaps more importantly, whether this new era can continue the long tradition of success in Tuscaloosa. So how will things play out? Let me hear your thoughts now.